never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Brian Giles with Brian Giles MTG. And we're back with more Outlaws of Thunder Junction spoilers. So, starting our list off for now, we're having a bunch of the cards from the Big Score, which was supposed to be an aftermath epilogue set for Thunder Junction. Pardon my camera here. We're trying to get the lighting and stuff corrected here. So, starting off, we have Simulacrum Synthesizer. A blue and 2 for an artifact that reads, when Simulacrum Synthesizer enters the battlefield, scry 2. Whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/0 construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So this would fit well in that Urza deck a while back. Especially, the good Urza that everybody wants and isn't worth that much anymore. Then we have Legion Extruder. So a red and 1 for an artifact that reads, Legion Extruder enters the battlefield and deals 2 damage to any target. Pay 2, tap, and sacrifice another artifact. Create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token. Ooh, this sounds like a fun addition to your Oni Cult deck. Hoo-haw. Then we have another extraordinarily powerful card in Dust Animist. So it's a white and 1 for a 2/3 spirit with flying. If you control 5 or more untapped lands, Dust Animist enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters and a lifelink counter on it. And you can plot him for a white and 1. So if you got, after paying the spell for this, if you got 5 other lands that are untapped, he comes in as a 4/5 with lifelink. Hoo-haw. For 2 mana? I call that super win. Bing, bing, bing. Next up is Loot. The key to everything. So he's a green, a blue, and a red for a 1/2 legendary beast noble with ward 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of card types among other non-land permanents you control. You may play those cards this turn. Hoo-haw. So this guy can do all sorts of stuff if you have all sorts of stuff. So he fits well into the legendary deck. With Prismatic Bridge, World Tree, stuff like that. Hoo-haw. Next up is an insane card in Lotus Ring. So for 3 mana, you get an artifact equipment that's indestructible. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has vigilance. And you can tap to sacrifice this creature to add 3 mana of any one color and equip for 3. Squeeze me? You put this on a 1/1 little token creature, it becomes a 4/4 vigilance, and you can sacrifice it to add 3 mana of any one color. And it's indestructible. This is like the mana rocks of all mana rocks. Hoo-ha! Next up, we have another reprint, but of course, this is, like I said, this is the epilogue set that was supposed to be printed, and they just folded it into the main set. So this is Grand Abolisher. So 2 white and 2 white for a 2/2 human cleric. During your turn, opponents can't cast spells, activate abilities of artifact, creatures, or enchantments. So again, that's part of that whole lockdown strategy that we saw emerge in other cards. Next up is another part of that lockdown strategy in Rest in Peace. So, a white and 1 for an enchantment that reads, when Rest in Peace enters the battlefield, exile all graveyards. If a card or token would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So, hoo-ha. You ain't getting your cards back. Then we have World Walker Helm. A blue and 2 for an artifact that reads, if you can create 1 or more artifact tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional map token. And you can pay a blue and 1 and tap it to create a token that's a copy of target artifact token you can control. So it creates a map token, and you can spend more to create copies of that map token. This is like the token copy generator, and it can get out of hand real quick if you're not careful. Then we have Memory Vessel. So it's 2 red and 3 for artifact that reads, tap it and sacrifice. Tap an exile Memory Vessel. Each player exiles the top 7 cards of their library. Until your next turn, players may play cards exiled this way. They can't play cards from their hands. Activate only as a sorcery. Ooh. So, you have to play cards from the top of your deck, and so basically it's a refresher card, but you have to play those cards. So this card is a little disturbing. Then we have another crazy card in Omen Path Journey. So, a green and 3 for an enchantment that reads, Omen Path Journey enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 5 land cards that have different names and exile them, then shuffle. At the beginning of your end step, choose a card at random, exile with Omen Path Journey, put it onto the battlefield tapped. This is the mana fixture of all mana fixtures. You get 5 lands as long as they have different names. So there can be 5 basics, five of the desert lands, 5 of your surveil lands, your scry lands. As long as they have different names, this in a commander deck is absolutely gonna wreck things because you're guaranteed for 5 turns. As long as this is in play, you're guaranteed for 5 turns you get at least 1 mana. That is insanity. And if you're playing with those desert lands, you're pinging somebody every turn, and when your turn comes back around, because this sets your end step, when your turn comes back around, that thing comes in, it's untapped. So you can use it when you need it. And this was spelunking. Yeah, really. Next up is another insane removal card in Pest Control. So, a white and a black for a sorcery that reads, destroy all non-land permanents with mana value 1 or less, and you can cycle it for 2. Okay, all your weenie cards, all your mana value 1 cards, they're all gone. They're just gone. And if you have Rest in Peace in play, they're gone like permanent like. The only drawback is that it has to be played at sorcery speed. Oh, but your opponent just played White Sun's Twilight and got rid of everything. He's got all these little Phyrexian Might tokens. Bye-bye! Crunch-chi. And mind you, it says mana value 1 or less. Oh, I see that big, huge token that got created by Ren and 6, or excuse me, Ren and 7. That goes bye too because it's mana value. Anything that doesn't have any mana value. So this gets rid of all your tokens, big tokens, small tokens, as long as they're not copies of creatures, like, with the Scoot Swarm copies. So, hoo-haw! I like this card. And if you need, it's got an additional thing where you can cycle it if your opponent isn't playing with tokens. So hoo-ha! And finally, we have Esoteric Duplicator. A blue and 2 for an artifact clue. Whenever you sacrifice Esoteric Duplicator or another artifact, you may pay 2 generic. If you do, at the beginning of the next end step, create a token that's a copy of that artifact. So, and you can pay 2 and sacrifice Esoteric Duplicator to draw a card. So you can sack it and pay the 4, 2 to sack it, and 2 to copy it. And you get a card draw. Now remember, this is a copy of target artifact, which means it's an exact duplicate, only it's a token. So that's interesting. I know this video is a little shorter today, but they didn't put out a lot. I'm going to triple check my findings here. Nope. But this is the insane stuff that they were going to put in the big score set that was going to be the epilogue set that was supposed to follow this. But with the failure of March of the Machine Aftermath, I just folded it into this set, and it's just some extra cards. All of these cards, from what I understand, are standard legal. The ones that are crime cards, they're legal in the formats that they're presented in, and they're not standard legal. So the ones with the jail symbol on them. So we got a few of those cards that we haven't gone over yet. An Endless Detour, which is something from New Capenna, so it's a green, a white, and a blue. Owner target, for instance, owner target spell, non-land, permanent, or card in a graveyard puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Then we have Tornado, which is a green and 2 for an instant that reads, destroy target creature with flying. You can cycle it for a green and 1. Not the best card for that value, but you get the cycling going on. We have Repulse, which is a blue and 2 for an instant that reads, turn target creature to its owner's hand and draw a card. We have Skewer the Critics, which just came out recently. Well, actually, it came out, it was reprinted, but it came out originally in one of the Ravnica sets for a red and 2. You can cast a spell. It's a sorcery. You can cast it for a spectacle, which means you can cast a spell for a spectacle cost if an opponent lost life this turn. So Scary Critics deals 3 damage to any target. So hoo-ha. We have Mind Break Trap, 2 blue and 2 for an instant trap. The opponent has 3 or more, cast 3 or more spells this turn. It pays 0 rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Exile any number of target spells. So, hoo-ha. We have Overwhelming Forces, a beefy 2 black and 6 for a sorcery that reads, draw creatures the target opponent controls, draw a card for each creature destroyed this way. So if you got the mana and your opponent's got the creatures, you're drawing a bunch of cards and they lost all their creatures. And it's the opponent, so it's a one-sided board wipe. And if you're drawing cards and you have Shelley, if you have Shields of the Apocalypse on the battlefield, you're gaining a bunch of life. So hoo-ha. Then we have Vanishing Verse, which was from Strixhaven. So it's a white and a black for instant that reads Excel target monocolored permanent. We have Decisive Denial. So a green and a blue, choose. For instance, it says choose one. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 3. So a counter spell or a fight spell. Not unhappy with either. We have Imp's Mischief, black and 1 for an instant that reads, change target spell with single target, lose life equal to that spell's mana value. So again, another spell redirection, this time in black. Okay, we have Loot, the showcase version of Loot, Lotus Ring, there's the Grand Abolisher, and the rest of the cards from that came out. So, hoo-ha. Triple and quadruple check. Nothing else for this. We're at 20 minutes now, so we're going to say hoo-ha. That's a great video. We got some insane cards, and we'll see you on the next video.